In Ember's Chapter 4, the first half, the narrative plunges into the chaotic and high-stakes tryout match at Cozy Eye High, where raw ambition collides with strategic discipline and the fragile dynamics between rookies and veterans unravel under pressure. The chapter opens with Coach Shizuki Yukazuki overseeing the formation of teams, assigning roles that immediately expose fissures in communication and trust. Takami, the prodigious forward and last year's national scoring leader, is positioned as the offensive linchpin, flanked by Inuzuka, while the protagonist and others are relegated to defensive duties, a decision met with frustration from players like LIH, whose confusion over tactics underscores the divide between seasoned strategists and impulsive newcomers. This initial setup lays bare the team's fractured cohesion, as veterans dismiss rookies' questions with impatience, and B-team candidates like Inanaki, a cerebral player with a knack for psychological warfare, openly scorn their less experienced peers. The tension escalates as the match begins, structured into 15-minute halves with promotion to the Elite A-team dangling as the ultimate prize, a goal that fuels both desperation and recklessness among the aspirants. The game unfolds as a microcosm of the team's broader struggles. Takami's early dominance reaffirms his reputation, his clinical precision and unrelenting drive to score drawing awe and resentment in equal measure. However, his solo brilliance becomes a double-edged sword, as the team's over-reliance on him leaves gaps in their formation. A critical misstep occurs when the defensive line, overeager to support Takami's advances, pushes too far forward, exposing their backfield to a devastating counterattack led by Inanaki. This moment crystallizes the chapter's central conflict, the clash between individual prowess and collective strategy. Inanaki, ever the tactician, exploits the chaos, slipping past defenders with an almost predatory stealth to seize the ball and score, his success a direct rebuke to the disorganized aggression of his opponents. His taunting remark, "I let you have all those shots and you couldn't make a single one," underscores the psychological warfare at play, as much a battle of wits as of athleticism. Meanwhile, the protagonist grapples with his relegated role, chafing at the sidelines as the action unfolds without him. His internal monologue reveals a simmering resolve to prove his worth, even as external pressures, snide remarks from teammates, the looming specter of failure, threaten to erode his confidence. A pivotal moment arises when Haitian, a defensive player, unexpectedly steps up to intercept a critical play, his sudden assertiveness catching both teams off guard. This brief flash of initiative hints at untapped potential, yet it's swiftly overshadowed by the return of old habits. Haitian's momentary brilliance dissolves into hesitancy, and he becomes ensnared in Inanaki's mind games, fixating on the ball to his detriment. "Look at you," eyes glued to the ball. "You're the perfect prey," Inanaki mocks, stripping Haitian's efforts of their valor and reducing them to naivety. The goal scored against them, a product of individual errors rather than team strategy, serves as a humbling reminder of the cost of disunity. Interpersonal conflicts flare as the match wears on. A heated exchange erupts between defensive players blaming one another for lapses, their accusations laced with ego and insecurity. "Who are you, Calendum?" "He waltzed right past you." One snaps, exposing the fragile alliances within the team. This friction is compounded by the presence of Kamigai, an A-team veteran whose aloof demeanor and refusal to collaborate with B-team members exacerbate tensions. His dismissive attitude, "he can't even be bothered. What a jerk," reflects the entrenched hierarchy that prioritizes individual accolades over collective growth. Yet even Kamigai's icy composure cracks under pressure, his earlier confidence giving way to visible frustration as the game slips further from his control. Amid the chaos, quieter moments of introspection reveal the psychological toll of the tryouts. A player reflects on a missed shot, his internal monologue laced with self-doubt. "If I keep failing when it counts," a sentiment echoed by others grappling with the fear of irrelevance. Coach Yukazuki's enigmatic scoring system looms over the match, her silence amplifying the players' anxiety. Her decision to judge based on undefined categories rather than clear metrics adds a layer of existential uncertainty, forcing the aspirants to second-guess every move. This ambiguity becomes a narrative device, mirroring the characters' broader struggles to define their identities within the rigid structure of competitive sports. The chapter's climax hinges on a strategic pivot. After enduring relentless pressure, the protagonist and Haitian devise a plan to go snake hunting, a metaphor for targeting Inanuki's calculated plays. This shift from reactive defense to proactive aggression signals a turning point, not just in the match, but in the protagonist's arc. His willingness to adapt, to channel his frustration into strategic innovation, marks the first glimmer of growth, contrasting sharply with Takami's static, albeit dominant, approach. Yet the resolution remains tantalizingly out of reach, the chapter closing on a cliffhanger as the players brace for the second half, their fates still hanging in the balance. Thematically, Chapter 4 explores the duality of ambition, its capacity to inspire greatness and breed self-destruction. Characters like Takami embody the peril of solitary ambition, his laser focus on scoring isolating him from the team's needs, while Inanuki represents the cold calculus of strategy devoid of empathy. The protagonist, caught between these extremes, begins to carve a middle path, his scrappy resilience and budding tactical awareness suggesting a synthesis of instinct and discipline. The artwork amplifies these themes, with frenetic panel layouts mirroring the match's chaotic pace, while close-ups capture the sweat-drenched intensity and fleeting moments of doubt etched across the players' faces. Ultimately, the first half serves as a crucible, testing the team's cohesion and individual mettle. The unresolved match symbolizes the broader journey ahead, a journey fraught with setbacks and self-discovery, where the embers of potential must either ignite into triumph or smolder into regret. As the story hurtles toward its midpoint, the characters stand on the precipice of transformation, their allegiances, strategies, and very identities poised for upheaval. The promise of the second half looms large, a blank canvas awaiting the strokes of grit, ingenuity, and perhaps redemption.